Luke Inman back again in the Cold Omaha studios, breaking down a tough loss in Philadelphia against the Eagles that by all accounts was uncharacteristic on many fronts. A smooth segue into our first clip where the Vikings were pushed around at the line of scrimmage, but did you know it wasn't just on the offensive side of the ball? No, the defensive line was outmanned more times than not, something 6 games into the season, well, we're just not used to seeing. Here the Eagles do a great job of double teaming at the point of attack, meaning both interior players and defensive tackles Linval Joseph and Tom Johnson are going to have no chance of penetrating into the backfield and are actually pushed back 3 yards off the line of scrimmage. By starting in a shotgun spread and giving a passing look, the Eagles also help take away Everson Griffin out of the play as he attacks the passer and over-pursues the ball carrier. Lastly, by double-teaming both tackles, the Eagles gamble by leaving Brian Robeson unmanned. But the Eagles were more than aware of this and strategically run away from Robeson, taking him out of the play, a sequence of events that was well designed and executed even better. Sure, it may just be a 7-yard gain on the ground, but it's not something you often see. The defensive line outmanned and pushed back physically, like at the point of attack here. Sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the opposing team. You know Sam Bradford was sacked 6 times, but did you also know he was hit on 12 occasions and pressured 19 different times? That's close to 40% of his dropbacks Bradford had to throw with a man in his face. One obvious catalyst to this mess was the fact coaches felt they had the luxury to sprinkle in newcomer Jake Long for 15 to 20 plays with only 1 full padded practice under his belt. It seemed odd to try to get his feet wet at a position that is often set in stone and rarely seen strategically subbing players in and out during different times of the game. Here Long's rust is evident as he allows Connor Barwin deep into the pocket before even laying a hand on him. By that point, it's too late, as Barwin's push, coupled with his speed and momentum, are enough, even with just one arm. He's able to push Long back into Bradford, while with his free arm, Barwin wisely gets his hand up on the ball to force a strip sack on the quarterback, a series of events that the Vikings would unfortunately see far too much of. Another key play against the Eagles here. Down in the red zone, the Vikings have 7 points on their radar, but after a penalty, the Vikings are forced into an obvious passing situation, which lets defensive end Brandon Graham pin his ears back and get after the quarterback. TJ Clemmings isn't prepared for Graham's explosion in strength and is caught leaning outside too much, which allows Graham to push him further off balance and out of the picture altogether, giving him a free sprint to the quarterback, which proved to be detrimental to the outcome of this game. While it's unsure where Bradford was actually going with the pass, it's clear he didn't realize just how close and quick Graham was, or he likely would have just taken the sack. Instead, his arm gets hit, and the ball floats in the air and into an Eagle defender, taken away. If nothing else, a chip shot field goal by Blair Walsh. Well, it was a full team effort in this loss, and while the offensive line is an easy target to blame for obvious reasons, there were plenty of factors that caused Bradford to be pressured 19 times. Here the Eagles send a blitz, and running back Matt Asiata is unsure which rusher to block. It's easy to see why Asiata was so confused, though, as the play design called for Rudolph to chip block and delay his would-be rusher, which he does. But unfortunately, he actually pushes his man in the middle of a gaping hole, and he is then able to run free to the quarterback up the middle. Asiata is supposed to pick up the outside man, who is also coming free, but the golden rule in blocking in the backfield is inside to outside, meaning although his brain was probably saying, hey, the outside man is my responsibility, and the way this play was designed, his heart probably knew he should try and chip the new free blitzer coming inside. The confusion and panic causes Asiata to freeze and fail to pick up and block either of the pass rushers, forcing Bradford to throw the ball far earlier than he intended. 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams, something the Vikings had been technically sound in during their 5-0 run. Here, however, the Vikings give up their first special teams TD since 2013 when a few things go wrong on the kickoff. I'll try my best to point out what I see, but keep in mind, not 100% sure what special teams coach Mike Prefer had designed. First, I see far outside man Charles Johnson storm down the field and collapse inside. Now that may be planned to move that far inside, but even so, it looks as though when he engages with his blocker, he moves even further inside and loses that outside contain. Again, not sure if this was by design, but if so, there needs to be multiple men on the outside there to help. You can see here that Justin Tratteau was on his way over, but trips on the play, forcing the Vikings to cover with just 10 men. And Mike Zimmer also called out Edmund Robinson during his press conference, number 51 next to Tratteau, for not battling through this double team. Between those three players, Josh Huff has a monster hole and is able to rip through into the clear using his blazing speed to score a game-changing touchdown. Breaking down key plays here as the Vikings failed fourth down conversion with just a few minutes left. Now, nothing special at first glance as Bradford tries to squeeze this ball into one of his favorite go-to targets, Kyle Rudolph. But good coverage from the linebacker underneath to bat the ball away. Take a closer look, though, and you'll see Adam Thielen on a crossing route underneath. The linebacker who was responsible for guarding Thielen in coverage slips for just a second, but was likely enough to be exploited had Bradford been able to find him. To blame it all on Bradford, though, as you'll see, just isn't fair as he didn't have much time to begin with and was unable to scan the field properly to even have a chance. But had he had enough time in the pocket, Bradford might have been able to hit Thielen, who likely would have just enough steps on his man to convert the critical fourth down. While we aren't used to seeing the Vikings lose yet this year, this game wasn't catastrophic as some have made it out to be. The Vikings defense was once again the driving force in the team staying competitive for 4 quarters and did some great things like hold quarterback Carson Wentz to just 138 yards passing, a QB rating under 70, and 2 forced interceptions. Here's another one of Zimmer classic exotic looks as he's got 8 different players at the line of scrimmage, forcing the O-line to take a guess at who's coming and who's going. In the end, the Vikings bring 5 with an extra delayed blitzer in Brian Robeson to make it 6. The Eagles, though, do a good job of picking them up and giving Wentz time to move around and step up in the pocket. Like most quarterbacks would do with 6 men blitzing, Wentz assumes he must have somebody open, but as you see, the coverage downfield is close to perfect. Wentz still can't help but take a shot, assuming someone will peel open, but as he tries to squeeze a ball in these tight corridors, it's Xavier Rhodes who makes a heads-up play on the ball to come down with a diving interception. And finally, let's leave off on a good note, with 2 outstanding throws from Sam Bradford. The first here to Adam Thielen, who beats his man off the line of scrimmage against a jam press from the cornerback. Check out how much Bradford already trusts Thielen to continue to stride away from his defender as when he cocks back and releases this ball, Thielen is still covered very well. Thielen does his job, though, getting just a step or 2 on his man, and Bradford does the rest, throwing a drop in the bucket down the sidelines for a big gain. Finally, Bradford can't go a whole game without pinching one ridiculous pass into the teeth of the defense. This one to Kyle Rudolph run a deep in route. Bradford somehow finds just enough room in between 2 linebackers and past a cornerback and still hits Rudolph in stride for a big first down. Let's not be too quick to forget when he's got time to scan the field and step into his throws. Don't forget Sam Bradford is still one hell of an accurate passer. That's it for now. For everyone at Cold Omaha and coldomaha.com, I'm Luke Inman, signing out.